Happy Friday. It is episode 25 of Slice of Life. Feels like only yesterday we were confined to our little apartments and houses, but not to be. We've been here, we're hanging out, we're trying to stay sane, and we'll kick it off with our favorite social slice. I'll start first. Billy, a couple days ago, the Blue Angels and Thunderbirds flew over New York. They made their way to Philadelphia. They're making their way across the country. And after they flew over in New York City, I started following Trevor Aldridge on Instagram. He's number 2 left wing for the Thunderbirds. And some of the things that he posts are pretty mesmerizing. Growing up on Long Island, you go to air shows, the Long Island Children's Museum, the Cradle of Aviation Museum right next to each other. In Uniondale by the Coliseum, they have a Blue Angels replica. You just kind of grow up liking aviation a little bit, and you learn about the Blue Angels and how they fly like this far apart. And then this nuts video of a jet fueling itself from a tanker in the air. I just figured out that there's a bold button on my coffee maker, Billy. These guys are fueling up planes in the sky while flying next to each other. I guess I'm a little kid when it comes to this stuff, but I just figured I had to share these guys that are making their way across the country, obviously for the healthcare workers, but what they do is freaking cool. Yeah,
Growing up on Long Island, like yourself, I'm sure you're familiar with the Jones Beach Air Show and how, like, when the Blue Angels are there, it's like rock stars. Like, people come from everywhere and they talk about it, and all they talk about are the Blue Angels. So from the time you're a little kid growing up, even now as an adult, I bring my kids to the air show, or we go to the airport to try to watch them take off and stuff like that. It's an absolute rock star atmosphere, and it's amazing what they can do. So that was definitely a very cool video. For my social slice, last night the NFL announced their schedule for the 2020 season, and it's sort of become a new trend where every team creates some type of video that they post on social media beforehand to release their schedule. Some teams do it like a theatrical movie-style trailer. Some people come up with some funny, creative ways to do it. The Giants did a combination of fans and celebrities and former players that did a virtual handoff. My favorite part of that was when it got to Eli. He announced the bye week because, as he said, I am on a permanent bye week from now on, which gave me a chuckle. But the Carolina Panthers also did a great one that was sort of like a day in the life video. It's 3 minutes long, but unbelievably well done. Very cool to see. But my personal favorite from yesterday was from the Los Angeles Chargers, and here's a look at the clip.
My name is Diana. I am a registered nurse.
My name is Zach Hofritza. I'm a sergeant with the Costa Mesa Police Department.
I am a stock clerk.
I'm a Class A driver.
I'm a waste management driver for 15 years.
Oh yeah, it just went through.
All right, I got it here.
So I'm just reading this letter.
Would you like me to go ahead and start reading?
Whenever you're ready.
If you're Juan, you are a hero.
If you ever feel alone in this fight, please know that we see you.
We all see you.
And the truth is, we couldn't get through this without you.
Serving others, regardless of the personal cost.
You've asked for nothing and continue to give us everything you have.
What's crazy is that sometimes you probably think everything isn't enough.
That's why you are a hero.
Well, there's no way to adequately thank you for your sacrifice.
We thought we'd at least try by covering $1,000 worth of your groceries to get you through the weeks ahead.
Really?
Wow.
Thank you.
We know you didn't ask for this. What is this?
That's why you're our hero.
With admiration, the Los Angeles Chargers. Oh, that's so sweet of you guys.
I'm shaky, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's amazing.
That's very powerful.
Thank you.
So this is really just an amazing job by the Chargers to highlight healthcare workers, delivery drivers, cleaning crew, maintenance folks, grocery workers, the essential workers that are all keeping us, keeping the entire country running basically now. So it's a great video, great job by the Chargers, giving them $1,000 each to go grocery shopping and take care of their families. And then obviously they'll just keep paying it forward during the season with other stuff for first responders and frontline workers. So great job by the Chargers. They're trying to establish themselves in Los Angeles. and trying to become part of the community there. So this is a great way to kind of solidify yourself there and continue building your relationships.
Yeah, gone are the days where a team would just send a tweet that would say information. But we have lovely teams out there that like to keep graphics people on the payroll. So, by the way, shout out to our own Brendan Bowling, who has kept this show alive with fantastic graphics. So, props to everybody that does that. You're constantly changing the game when you're announcing schedules and things like this. So it's cool to see people going to crazy lengths to keep us all entertained at home.
Yeah, a little bit more entertaining than a pocket schedule, the way these teams are starting to put out their schedule. So very, very cool to see.
Lunchtime. So Chicken Parm Heroes. You've got a kind of a chicken plethora hero today, Bill.
Yeah, so this story has a whole bunch of heroes, I guess. So it's hard to just pick one out of it. So the story begins with Mike Kane. Mike Kane is a 93-year-old Air Force veteran, and his wife, Doris, who he affectionately calls Doe. Well, Mike and Doris share a chocolate bar every night before they go to bed and have done so for the last 20 years. It's a lovely tradition between a husband and wife. What do you do when there's a pandemic and you run out of chocolate and you're 93 years old and you don't have a car? Well, Mike decided he was going to hitchhike. Yes, hitchhike to the dollar store in order to purchase 35 chocolate bars to bring home to his wife. He walked out to the road. The dollar store is about a mile and a half away, and he decided that he was going to walk and hopefully someone would pick him up along the way. Enter Richard Farmer, hero number 2 of the story, who's a local real estate agent who was driving by and stumbled across the odd sight of a 93-year-old man hitchhiking on the side of the road. So he pulled over from a safe distance, asked Mike if he was okay, and he heard the story about what his plan was. So how could you not help a guy who's looking just to keep a tradition going with his wife? So he pulled over, he took out the Clorox wipes, disinfected his car, let him in, drove him to the dollar store. They bought 35 chocolate bars, as was his goal, and he drove him home while his wife was none the wiser that any of this was going on. Richard was taking some photos along the way and posted it on Facebook and started to gain some traction. And between then and now, Richard and Mike have met up a couple times to do other grocery shopping, and Richard has provided the chauffeur services, I suppose. And during their last meeting, Richard was telling about his how he posted it on Facebook and asked him if he knew what Facebook was, and he said yes. And so, well, I posted it there, and a bunch of people are liking it. He said, like, how many? Like 20? So Richard said, no, there's like 70,000. So it's a little bit different. And Hershey's has now gotten involved. So I have a feeling that Mike and Richard are both going to be set with chocolate for a little while. So a very cool story to see, and just people helping out people, and being a 93-year-old man, you got to keep your tradition going for sure. And I respect that.
Yes, I guess this week we found out that some of the secrets include red wine, apples, chocolate bar is the secret to longevity. I think the way that my relationship is going, it's going to be an entire bag, an entire jar of Tostitos before bed every night. That's the way our quarantine is going. So pretty amazing story. My chicken parm hero is something that I'm surprised we haven't talked about yet. But in New York, you've probably heard about the Kansas man who sent a mask to Governor Andrew Cuomo. That came out in the last couple weeks. But this week, the man Dennis Runke got a college degree from Kansas State University. So if you don't know the story, just do a quick little backstory. Dennis and his wife Sharon live in Kansas. Sharon has, I believe, a collapsed lung, or one functional lung. They have 5 masks. They kept 4 for themselves, sent one to Cuomo and said, I know your state's not doing well. Can you give one to a doctor or a nurse? And I'm sure it's like fan mail. They just send it out. They don't expect a response or nothing. Cuomo, his staff finds it. They get the mask. They read the letter aloud through a press conference, press briefing. And then all of a sudden, everyone wants to know what's up with Dennis. So Dennis turns out to be an amazing hero, selfless act, knowing that they needed it in Kansas, but he decided to give a mask to Cuomo. So after that, it came out that amazingly, Dennis was 2 credits away from earning a degree in agriculture in 1971, but his father had passed away, so he had to leave school to take care of his mother and the family farm. It's a touching, heartwarming story that there really are selfless people out there. I'm sure people are probably reading this story going, oh, this is staged and it's this and it's that and people aren't this nice. There are people out there. That's why we do a show like this that do amazing things. Just a selfless little act of sending a mask. I know that we were maskless in the city, and Bill, you shipped off 4 masks to us yourself from Sandy. So that I appreciate. I'll give you some sort of degree when I can, but this story was great and it kept getting better, and I just figured I had to bring to the show.
Yeah, I saw this, I think it was last week when Andrew Cuomo was reading it during the press conference. So great story. And then when you find out the backstory about how he, left college a couple of credits short just to take care of his family, you see that this is sort of a pattern of this man's behavior and the selflessness that he's exhibited basically his entire life. So, congratulations to him on getting his degree from Kansas State, and just thank you for being you, and then showing us an example of what it is. And while everybody's nervous about, taking care of themselves and not looking out for others, this guy's showing us the way of the right way to act and the right way to deal with people, for sure.
On to sports. This date in baseball history. Remember those? I used to read those during broadcasts, but we'll have to put those on hold for a while. May 8th, 1961, the Mets decided to name themselves the Mets. And doing some digging on it, Bill, I didn't realize that the other options were Meadowlarks, Avengers, Bees, Burros, Continentals. They could have had Jets, Rebels, Skyliners, Skyscrapers. But as I was reading the story, to please a lot of the newspaper writers, Mets is 4 letters in a headline that fits pretty much everywhere. And just kind of a cool step back into history to realize what could have been. But New York Mets does sound pretty good.
For sure. And then the Let's Go Mets chant that has sort of been synonymous with the Mets since their very beginnings. Let's Go Avengers, Let's Go Skyliners just doesn't have that same ring to it. The LGM works on Twitter much better, I think. So good this date in history. I was very excited about yesterday when it was the anniversary of Bartolo's home run, which is another big day in Mets history for sure. So for my sports story, we're going to go from this date many, many years ago to this date today, which is also another milestone in the sports world, as today marked the first sporting event in the world, I believe, with fans in attendance since the pandemic broke here in the U.S. The Fubon Guardians in the CPBL, the Chinese Professional Baseball League, they were the first, but everybody, I believe, today in the league was able to have fans. So the Guardians defeated the Uni Lions 7-6 in front of 1,000 fans, which was the maximum capacity that they said that they would allow. Fans were able to sit together with families, but they were socially distanced. It was a little weird to watch, and behind home plate there was people scattered. There would be one person in the front row, and then 8 seats to their right, and then 7 seats behind them. So it was a little odd to see, but it was good to see fans. And then as the game sort of progressed, and there was action, and people were hitting home runs, and the home team was winning, they were excited. And the hardest thing to see, watching some of the highlights, a guy would hit a home run, and your natural reaction is to high five one of your friends or high five your neighbor, or everybody's excited. None of that. So that was a weird thing to see. But the highlight for me from the game was this video, which we've seen a flex cam, we've seen a bongo cam, we've seen the kiss cam, we've seen the Simba cam. But today, for the first time anywhere, we saw the wash your hands cam. Take a look.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Fubon Guardians TV and also Momo TV, as we welcome you back to this game.
So it looks a little weird, understandably. A bunch of people spinning around doing this for 20 seconds, singing happy birthday or whatever you're supposed to do. A little weird, but maybe a sign of the times, maybe something that's going to be coming here to the U.S. maybe, or finding another innovative way. Maybe have the Dove soap wash your hands cam or something. I don't know. We'll see. But last thing, unrelated to anything, I was trying to find a way to throw this in, and I completely forgot until just now. So Sunday is Mother's Day for everybody, particularly us men who tend to forget things like this. So if you happen to stumble across this video and you need an idea for mom or your wife or somebody, I came across this morning, which I thought was a really cool idea. Airbnb, which is all over the world providing housing for people, but obviously that's not necessarily something that's in demand. So they've sort of pivoted and are creating like virtual experiences that you can do. Like you can get a guided tour of Chernobyl from someone on a Zoom cam. And you and up to 10 people can go on a tour. They're doing virtual flamenco lessons. You can have cooking lessons from a chef in France. You can have a sommelier tell you about wine. Stuff's like $12. Some stuff's like $40. And the best part of it is you get it immediately. So if you forgot something and it's now Saturday or it's Friday or you need something for Sunday, you get it right away. So definitely check it out, worth a look. And there's some pretty cool things that you can do. And I believe it's all done sort of live action style where, you know, someone's going to take you on an iPad tour of wherever you want to go. So definitely worth checking out. Some cool stuff on there. And friendly reminder to all the gentlemen out there. Sunday is Mother's Day. Get something.
This Sunday?
Yeah, coming up, buddy.
This Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good to know. No, I will say Airbnb, for those of you who live in a denser area, maybe a city or something like that, Airbnb is actually a pretty sweet way to find like guided walking tours when the world goes back to normal, but or things to do. So definitely a good find. Yeah, I'm glad you remembered that because it's almost so poetic that you just barely remembered to remember Mother's Day as part of this slice of life.
Right. My favorite thing always is where we work normally when life is normal and you're going back to the Bell Parkway. There's flowers on the side of the Bell Parkway right outside Lincoln High School. And they're there every day. But if you go by on Valentine's Day or you go by near Mother's Day, the lines are like getting out of Giant Stadium parking lot. It is insane, and it's just filled with guys, and you've never been more proud to be a guy than knowing that everybody is there doing the same exact thing because everybody is a procrastinator.
We mean well. I think that by putting it on a Sunday, it does a detriment because Sundays you just want to lounge around. Now you got to spring into action, but then I guess you're supposed to be operational weeks beforehand.
I looked at like 3 different calendars to confirm that it was actually Mother's Day because I didn't believe any of them.
All right, Bill, then I have to spring to the online store and have something overnighted. Have a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to your mother, and we'll see you on Monday.
Take care. Have a great weekend.